Let's take a look today talking about the spinning of how we open. Now, everything starts right here. Here's 0 degrees. We normally talk about opening that way, which is a positive opening. But if we open this way, it's considered a negative opening. So I might say, hey, I've opened up here 30 degrees in here. So how much have I opened since I went that down? That's a negative 30-degree turn. So if you move clockwise, that's considered a negative turn. Moving this way, that's a negative degree turn. We're always usually talking of opening this direction, which is what we're used to, of a positive turn. Now, the other thing that we need to know is the quadrants here. Obviously, if you remember, just like you make the letter C, this is what you're taught in middle school, just like I make the letter C, that means this is my first quadrant. Then as I make the letter C, I'm then in the second, then I'm in the third, and then I'm in the fourth quadrant, okay? So we do need to know the quadrants because we want to talk about where things land, in which quadrant do they land. So again, we know this is our first, this is our second, this is our third, and this is our fourth. Again, just like you make the letter C, you start right here and go there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay. Now, if we think of it degree-wise, we know this is 0 degrees. Up here is 90. Then we have 180. Then we have 270. And then you're back at 360. Okay. So obviously, if I have a 110-degree angle, everything starts here. It's between 90 and 180. It's like up in here. So it's in what? Quadrant 2. That should be pretty simple. What if you have an angle that opens 240? Well, it starts here. 240 is going to open, well, that's between 180 and 270. So, that's down here, that opening there. So you're in quadrant 3. Nothing tricky there. That, again, that's pretty easy. Again, quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. What if we open negative 100 degrees? Well, this time, instead of spinning this direction, you and I know we're spinning that way. And it's going to be the exact same as we would expect. Here's 0 degrees. Here would be negative 90. Here would be negative 180, negative 270 up here, and then back here, negative 360. So negative 100 would be between negative 90 and negative 180. So it would be that opening about right there. Again, none of that should give you trouble. Okay? I think degrees, piece of cake, no problems. So let's take a look. Here's where we're going to have trouble. What if they give us the answer in radians? Oh my, no big deal. We start 0. We know here's pi. We know here is pi over 2, a half radian. So just think of this as half a pi. So you have half a pi, 1 whole pi, 1.5 pies, and then 2 pies. Okay, so that's what we have. I mean, in reality, now granted, instead of writing it as 1.5 pi, we say 3 over 2, and we say pi over 2 instead of 1/2, but that's what we have. So if somebody said to me, hey, Mr. Hickam, where's pi over 5, let's say? Well, the easiest way to sort of think about this is that's a fifth. So is a fifth between 0.5 or a half and 1? Well, maybe our fraction bit's not so strong. So if we do change 1/5 to a decimal, you'll see that's just like 0.2 or 0.20 pi, which obviously half a pi is like 50 cents, right? And down here is $1.50 pi. So where would 20 cents pi be? Oh, that's going to be in quadrant 1. What if they gave you 4 pi over 5 and said, hey, where's that guy located? Well, where's 4/5? Is it between 0.5, a half and 1 whole and 1.5, 1.5 or 2? Well, you can see it's not even a whole unit yet. So obviously your guess would be 1 or 2, quadrant 1 or 2. But if you change that to a decimal, you'll see that's just 80 cents, 0.80, which is between 50 cents and a, so that's somewhere in here because it's between 50 cents and $1 whole. So it's in quadrant 2. Now, what if they say, hey, what about negative 5/4 pi. Now it's negative. That means we're swinging that direction. So we got to keep that in mind. Well, no big deal. Here's 0. Here would be negative 50-cent pi, or 1/2. Negative $1 pi. Negative $1.50 pi, which again is really, we know that's negative 3 pi over 2. And then here's your $2 pi, negative $2 pi. So what is this? Well, that's a negative $1.25 pi, because 5 divided by 4 is 1.25. So where is negative $1.25? That's going to be between $1 and $1.50. So it's in this quadrant. So that guy has opened up like that. So that is in quadrant 2. This is how we determine in which quadrant each of these is. Now, if it's in radians like this, just change it to a decimal and then sort of figure it out. And again, you're simply going 0, 50 cents, $1, $1.50, $2. Should be rather simple.